It was supposed to be just another fun night out, a dinner with a friend, a few laughs, and an easy drive home. But for 21-year-old Hannah Cornelius, that night would be her last, one that would end in the most unimaginable way. No one, least of all Hannah, could have foreseen the horrors that awaited her that evening. She had no idea it would be her last night alive. Hannah was a bright and promising university student in Stellenbosch, South Africa. Full of life and ambition, she was pursuing a degree in linguistics with dreams of making a difference in the world. A vibrant and warm soul, Hannah was known for her kindness, her sense of humor, and her willingness to help anyone in need. Her friends and family adored her, and she was the light of every room she entered. But all of that would come to an abrupt and devastating end on May 27, 2017. A normal night that would change everything. It was late on a Saturday night when Hannah and her close friend, Cheslin Marsh, decided to call it a night after spending some time together. The two had been enjoying the evening in the heart of Stellenbosch, a town known for its charm and tranquility. For Hannah, the night was like any other, filled with laughter, good food, and the company of a friend. But neither of them knew that when they left that night, they would never return the same. It was a peaceful evening that seemed like any other, but it would turn into the most horrific night of their lives. As they drove home in the early hours of the morning, they were ambushed. The two men, later identified as Sibusiso Nkosi and Joseph Ndlovu, had been waiting for a victim, and when they saw Hannah and Cheslin, they seized the opportunity. With terrifying precision, they attacked, forcing the two victims out of their car and into a waiting vehicle. The horror had only just begun. They knew exactly what they were doing, and Hannah and Cheslin, unaware of the impending danger, were caught completely off guard. Imagine the terror. You're simply driving home expecting to be safe in your car, and then, out of nowhere, two strangers drag you from the vehicle, throwing you into the trunk without warning. Hannah had no idea that in that moment, her life would never be the same. She wasn't prepared for what awaited her. She had no way of knowing that her peaceful night would turn into a nightmare, one that would end in a tragic loss and her fate sealed by the actions of two men she had never met. Once the two were forced into the trunk, they were driven for hours to a remote location outside of Stellenbosch. With every mile that passed, the danger only grew. Cheslin, in an act of sheer desperation, managed to escape from the trunk when the car stopped. He fled into the dark night, running for his life. But his escape did not stop the nightmare for Hannah. At this point, there was no going back. Hannah was now at the mercy of two men who had no compassion, no remorse. The chilling truth was that Hannah had been the target all along. Her fate had been sealed the moment the men decided they would make her their victim. The two men weren't just robbers, they were violent criminals. They'd come prepared for far more than theft. After taking Hannah to a secluded area, they subjected her to unspeakable horrors. In that moment, Hannah fought with all her might, but her attackers were relentless. The violent act that unfolded was the culmination of years of disturbing behavior from the men, yet the system had failed to recognize their danger. No one had connected the dots, and as a result, one young woman's life was extinguished in a brutal act of violence. What had started as a routine evening for Hannah turned into a nightmare she couldn't have imagined, and as she tried to escape the grasp of her attackers, her life slowly slipped away. She had done everything right. She had shared her whereabouts, told her friend where she was going, and kept in touch through texts, but none of it was enough to save her. In that moment, the system that was supposed to protect her had failed her completely. After committing the crime, the attackers did not immediately flee. In fact, they showed chilling indifference. After taking her life, they moved her body, hiding it in a place where it could be discarded. They even requested a late checkout from a nearby hotel, as though nothing had happened. The absence of fear, guilt, or remorse was more terrifying than the crime itself. But in the midst of the horror, a tiny yet profound moment of bravery occurred. Cheslin, though injured, found a way to get help. His escape allowed authorities to trace the men's steps, but it was a race against time. Hannah's friends and family had been calling her repeatedly, but her phone remained silent. It was only a matter of time before the truth came to light. As Cheslin gave his statement to the police, authorities sprang into action. They followed the trail that the criminals had left behind. CCTV footage, witness reports, and forensic evidence all pointed to the two men. The truth was unfolding, but for Hannah's family, it was too late. By the time her body was discovered, it was a grim reality. Their daughter, sister, and friend was gone forever. The discovery of Hannah's body near a dumpster in the early hours of Christmas Eve was a haunting scene. In the cold, unfeeling silence of the hotel grounds, she lay wrapped in bedding. Her bright future, her dreams of a career, a life filled with love and adventure, gone in a flash. As the investigation continued, it became evident that the attackers had a long history of violence and crime. Yet, despite numerous warnings from mental health professionals and police reports, no one had connected the dots in time to prevent this tragedy. Sibisiso Nosi and Joseph Ndlovu were eventually arrested and brought to trial. The details of their past, threats of violence, disturbing behaviors, and disturbing fantasies were revealed in court. The evidence against the two men was overwhelming. The photographs they had taken of the crime scene, their confessions, and the forensic evidence all pointed to their guilt. The trial was difficult for Hannah's family and friends to endure, but it was a necessary part of the journey towards justice. In the end, both men were convicted of murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault, and they were sentenced to life in prison. However, the conviction could not undo the deep pain left in the wake of the tragedy. Justice had been served, but it couldn't bring Hannah back. Hannah's death sparked a national conversation about the safety of young people and the responsibility of the justice system. Her case revealed the serious flaws in how dangerous individuals were monitored and tracked. Despite clear warning signs, multiple threats, disturbing behavior, and an obvious escalation in violence, there was no system in place to flag these threats in time to save Hannah. It raised critical questions about the effectiveness of information sharing between the police, mental health professionals, and the justice system. The failure to connect the dots between these separate agencies allowed two dangerous men to roam free, unchallenged and unmonitored. In the aftermath of the tragedy, Hannah's foundation in her name was established, dedicated to raising awareness about the dangers of violent crime and advocating for stronger and how the systems in place must work better to protect the innocent. Hannah Cornelius Puyerin's tragic death reminds us of how fragile life can be. One moment she was sharing laughter with a friend, and the next she was a victim of a crime that could have been prevented. This story is not just a call for justice, it's a plea for awareness, vigilance, and change. The system must do better to protect those who trust it to keep them safe. If you found this story meaningful, please share it to raise awareness about the importance of safety and the fight against violent crime. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories like this.